I am 33. Okay, let's look at some SoD stuff. So we're totally switching gears here for a moment, friends. For some other gaming news, we haven't played SoD since Phase 3 died. Oh, is this different? Is this the one I should read, Jerry? Okay. We're gonna look at this one then. That's a lot of stuff. First one is roadmap. Oh, okay. Yeah, I care a lot less about that. Okay, updating some. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So for those of you who know, we were deep in the SoD universe for Phase 1, 2, and 3 until about midway through Phase 3, where they completely lost us. They stopped putting development focus into the game. Phase 3 was the most uninspired phase of the game as of yet. Sunken. Anyway, point is, wasn't good. All of us stopped playing. We're waiting for Season 4. We're finally getting some Season 4 news. Let's see what they have in front of us. Have a great evening, everyone. Hey, good night, El Tarago. Thank you so much for coming through. As always, I appreciate you. Much love. Sleep well. I hope you get some Azula Z's tonight. All right, let's read. It's from Agrand. WoW Classic Season Discovery Phase 4 PTR Development Notes, June 12th. Welcome to the WoW Classic Season Discovery Patch 1.15.3, 115.3 for PTR. Okay, below is a list of notable changes. Testing focus. The focus of our first round of PTR is to evaluate level 60 classes with all runes available and an initial round of class and rune adjustments. Please note that we do not currently consider any class in its final state. Great. Please note that while new raid content, rune discoveries, and most other new content, including new dungeon drops, will not be available, the Sunken Temple, as well as all normal dungeons, will be available should you wish to test dungeon runs or previous raids with the current round of class adjustments. But if I'm level 60, why would I do that? Whatever. Unless they're saying I can make myself... I can do it at level 50, I guess. Just on the PTR, which would be weird. Assessing the PTR once you've launched WoW Classic Era PTR from your drop down. Okay. Level 60 character templates. In order to... I don't care about all this. Great. Level 60 templates are equipped with yes. Additionally, characters are off to... Okay. Phase 4 vendors and test dummies. 3 new vendors have been set up in Stormwind and Orgrimmar selling basic supplies such as consumables and chances and gear for the Sunken Temple raid. So this is just all PTR info. Of just telling you where to find shit. But like these won't... I'm assuming... These are not going to be there when the actual phase releases. Right? So what they're saying is, yeah, these new vendors exist, so you can go buy this shit, test it out. But these vendors are not going to exist in Phase 4. 2 entries away from the big news? Okay. Test raid, Searing Basin. Okay. And then class adjustments. Druids. Cloak. Improved swipe. Adds a swipe cat ability and causes swipe in bear form to cause 100% increased damage and hit 3 additional targets. Hey, bear tanks. Tree of Life. Transform into a Tree of Life. We all know what that does. You heal more. Starfall. Are you happy? Are you happy, Jerry? Are you happy? I'm so fucking happy. Yeah. Now, if only they gave you the what was it, Shadowlands ability to cast while moving during Starfall. Oh, can you imagine, dude? Can you imagine? That's my favorite version of Starfall, where you could take the talent to be able to cast while moving. Oh, was that a Legion artifact node? Because they was also in Shadowlands. In Shadowlands, you could talent it. It made it last... It made it shorter, but you could move while casting or something like that. Or it gave it... No, that's what it did. It gave it a cooldown, whereas before you could have like 100% uptime, but you could now move with it. So it was a great trade-off. I loved it. Okay, other adjustments. Wild Growth healing reduced. Mana cost reduced. Tree of Life rune increases wild growth healing by 60. Well, that's good. They're just making it so that you're not a wild growth only healer, but they're also making it more mana efficient. Or, well, I don't know about more mana efficient. I'd have to do the math on that. It's probably not more mana efficient if it's reduced by 50 and costs 20 less. The point is, you're not only casting this ability, it seems like. Although maybe they didn't adjust any other healing spells. Started in Legion, the carried over. Yeah. Sounds right. Rake and Rip damage contribution for attack power increased. Okay. Gore. So they really didn't do a lot here, right? You're just getting Starfall. But they didn't talk about any like buffs to you as a Boomkin. Whereas it seems like they're giving buffs to the melee classes. Weren't Feral Druids already decent? Or were they the worst of the melees? Crusader weapon will not proc. Yeah. No, that is massive. But my point is like, so we're buffing melees. I know Ferals weren't the best of the melee classes. But don't we already know that melees scale far better? Ferals have a lot of issues at 60. Okay, fair. Could just be a Feral thing. And I've never played Feral. But like, it concerns me that we've gone through the first class and they've improved the melee version, like the melee spells, and they've not given you anything other than Starfall. Worries me a bit. We'll see though. Because like we said, Druids are a bit different. Okay, Hunters. Improve Volley. Increases volley damage by 3% of attack power each time it deals damage. That's fun. Volley also no longer has a cooldown and no longer suffers pushback from damaging attacks against the Hunter, and mana cost of Volley is reduced by 50%. What the fuck? So I can just endlessly cast this without getting pushback? Okay. Resourcefulness. Reduce the mana cost of all traps by 100% and their cooldowns by 6. Ooh, that's fun. That's fun. Wait till you get to Paladin? Okay. It's not documented here, but you get 6% spell hit from the ring runes. Oh, okay, that's nice. Hit and run. Raptor Strike increases movement speed. Ah, that's an interesting little utility there. Although I don't know how much that matters. Because, like, most of Classic, like, your move speed doesn't matter. Like, maybe in PvP, that would matter more. But, like, when am I in a boss fight and I need a proc for 15% speed? Not that that's bad. You're never mad you have 50% more movement speed. But it just doesn't feel like something that I'm going to need that often if I'm just playing the game well. Okay, other adjustments. Melee Specialist no longer reduces the base cooldown of Mongoose by Raptor Strike. The rune now also causes Mongoose to have 30% chance to reset the cooldown on it. Okay, Heart of the Lion is no longer a rune ability, but is now learned as a baseline ability from a skill book. Fuck yeah! A new rune has been added to a place Heart of the Lion Cobra Slayer. Your Mongoose by now activates when you enemy dodges your attack. Deals. Fuck that. Stop giving me melee shit. I want to be a ranged hunter. The kill command rune has been removed and replaced with a new skill. New rune, Kill Shot. You attempt to finish on... Okay. Has no minimum range. Kill shots. I like this. I might be running that now. Invigoration rune has been removed and replaced with Wyvern Sting. Replaced with Wyvern Strike. A stinging strike that deals 100% weapon damage and poisons the target with the sting. Is this melee or ranged? It's set because they say strike. It sounds like it's a melee thing. Ew. Chimera Shot resets the cooldown. They're ruining Hunter for me. Great. TNT rune now also causes... That's nice. Traps will hurt more. Lock and load can no longer benefit Scatter Shot. Man, that's a bummer. They keep pushing people towards melee hunters. Fuck melee hunters. Who plays a hunter because they want to play melee? That just doesn't make sense to me. It never will. Okay, mages. New runes. Arcane Barrage. An instant attack dealing high arcane damage with a 3-second cooldown. That sounds fun to me. I like Arcane. Overheat. Fire Blast is now castable while casting another spell. That's something that they introduced later. Unaffected by global cooldown. And always crits. Very cool. And then Frozen Orb. Mage launches Frozen Orb. Damages nearby and it snares them. Causes Trigger Frost. Okay, cool. Those are all very classic mage abilities. I'm sure they're all going to be great. I hope Arcane is good again. Because I liked playing Arcane. It was a lot of fun. I liked it more than playing Fire. Even though I'm playing... Like, Fire was what I played more recently. Temporal Anomaly, which I never even used, and then Advanced Warning has been redesigned now, allows you to apply your mage armor shield buffs to friendly targets as well as causes. So we can now remove not just curse but also magical effects. That's cool. It allows me to put my mage armor shield buffs to friendly targets as well. Is it just becoming a raid buff? I can now put my mage armor on everyone, or do I still only get to put mage armor on one person, and it's either me or an ally? To me it sounds like they're making it a raid buff. Friendly targets. It's plural. But also specifically mage armor, can I cast frost armor on somebody? Or molten armor on somebody? Or only mage armor? This is your mage armor shield buffs. But mage armor is an actual name of an ability. Like, is this all mage armors? I need some water or something as well. Do you guys mind if I take a quick pause here? I know we're about to hit paladins, which you told me to keep my eye out for it. Let me grab some water. I can feel my water and some coffee. I can feel my throat getting a little scratchy from all the talking. But that's my point exactly, right? Groglocks, like it would be nuts if I could. If I can put like mage armor on all the casters, so now they have mana regeneration while casting to a degree. I could put frost armor, or I would put maybe even molten armor for threat generation, right? Molten armor is kind of like a thorns or something like that. But it could also be frost just for armor. Like, I don't know. Do I get to actually put it on everybody? And even on one target is powerful, Groglocks. You're very, very correct. But then if I can only put it on one target, I don't know if I ever see a world where I don't put it on myself. It's incorrect in the notes. What do you mean? Okay, you explain while I go grab something to drink, and I'll be right back. Okay. Paladin's nuts, am I right? Okay, it's Fire Ward, Frost Ward, and Mana Shield, not Mage Armor. Gotcha. Okay. Oh. I understand, Jerry. That is interesting. Hey, and then we also get Magic Dispels. Those seem like solid mage things. Okay, Paladinos. New runes. Shield of Righteousness. Slam the target with your shield, causing holy damage based on your block value. Cool. Tanking rune. We like damage. Vindicator, your Vindication talent now also decreases the target's attack power and increases the Paladin's strength, agility, and attack power. What? That's crazy. 20%? Your Judgment, Crusader Strike, Divine Storm, and Holy Shock abilities now deal an additional percentage of their damage dealt over 8 seconds. And now you get dots, too? Why the fuck not? Okay. Other adjustments. Seal Martyrdom is no longer a rune ability, but is now learned as a baseline. The mana return is now based on 65% of the damage the Paladin takes from the seal, down from 133. So way less mana regen, but we knew this was coming. A powerful, expensive heal that causes 50% of any excess healing from Divine Light to be converted into an Absorb Shield. Ah, okay. Exorcism no longer... Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Paladins. Okay. Exorcism no longer a rune ability, but is now learned. Okay. New rune has been added in place of Exorcist or Mastery. Doubles the magnitude. Well, we know that. That's a retail thing. Beacon of Light. Duration is now 1 hour. Thank God. Sheath of Light no longer grants bonus healing. Okay. The damage done by Hammer of Righteousness is reduced by... They've done so much, I don't even know how to evaluate any of this. But threat was increased. Interesting. Okay, good. So now Paladins can just hold threat. Between being able to like spam out Shield of Righteousness and then ideally that, they should be okay with threat, but we'll see. Bonus healing effect from the critical heals was moved from Sheath of Light rune to Fanaticism. Fusion of Light is seeing several adjustments. Increases the damage and healing of Holy Shock by 50%. Okay. Cooldown of Holy Shock to 6 seconds. Okay. Gotcha. So you could heal more. Art of War has seen several adjustments. Now only applies cooldown reduction and mana cost reduction to Exorcism. Art of War now reduces the remaining cooldown of Exorcism by 1% for each critical hit rather than fully resetting the cooldown. I kind of like that more. And now you're going to have all this fucking crit, though, because of the 20% to, where was it? Your agility over here. Your Consecration now also heals party members with this. What? That's interesting. Would you ever take this as a tank paladin, or are you just taking this as a holy paladin and you're just in the melee, you're in the tank group, in the melee group, and just healing? Horn was what holy took. That's what I'm saying. No, I agree. I know that holy's taking this. I'm saying, do you take this as a tank now? What's in this slot? I don't play paladin. What do you take as a tank in this slot? Because this would be a lot of threat. This is Aegis. I could see a world where, it's been redesigned, so we're about to read Aegis, so we'll see. Because there's a world where you're doing damage and healing for 200% of the damage dealt to all party members. So if it's tank, off tank, and 3 melees, it's crazy threat. Bad static? My bad. Should hopefully be fixed now. That's all I was thinking. I'm like, actually, that's insane threat generation if you wanted to run that, but you might not be tanky enough. Okay, Aegis has been redesigned. Now requires the Redoubt talent. Aegis grants 30% increased block value, not chance, but value, and now also grants Redoubt to the Paladin on a successful melee critical strike, as well as having a 10% chance to grant Redoubt to the Paladin when receiving a melee critical strike. So now, okay, so on dealing a critical strike or receiving a critical strike, You get it on every one of your own successful, and then 10% when you receive one. Okay. So now we're crit-based paladin tanks. Kind of interesting. Because presumably I'd want to crit a lot. Enlightened Judgments rune has been removed and replaced with a new rune, Malleable Protection. You can now take actions during Divine Protection, and its duration is increased, but it only reduces damage you take by 50% instead of granting. Oh, okay. That's interesting. A new baseline ability has been added. Avenging Wrath. Nice. Jesus Christ. Paladins are going to pump, dude. 20% increased damage and healing. You get that alongside this shit? What? We be pumping. Priests! Priests get almost nothing. Okay. A fat binding heal. A fast heal that heals a friendly target and the priest. And deals a low amount of threat. This spell benefits from and triggers all effects associated with flash heal. Okay. Soul Warding. Power Word Shield has no cooldown. A reduced mana cost and increased magnitude. I feel like we're taking that. And then Vampiric Touch. A damage over time effect that grants 2% of damage dealt as mana returned to all party members. I mean, I might be I'm running one of those two. Holy Pallies are going to be bananas, Groglocks. That's what it looks like. Just Paladins in general look like they're going to be bananas. I don't give a shit about this. It heals both of us, but otherwise it's essentially a flash heal. So they're like, here's a speedy heal. You already have one. This is interesting. I think there might be some fights where this would be super useful. Just in terms of damage mitigation, if you actually know who's going to take damage and when damage is coming through, if it has no cooldown and big magnitude, I could pop this onto 5 or 6 people, before a big chunk of raid damage or something, and that'd be huge. Likewise, especially if Martyrdom's getting nerfed, for example, having this in there, right? So if the mana regen from Paladins and Shamans is getting nerfed, which we know it is, then this could be pretty big in terms of keeping mana up. It's only 2% of damage dealt, and it's only to party, and it's only 2% of Vampiric Touch's tournament damage, rather, as far as I can tell. So it's not gonna be much, but we'll see. Void Plague runes are moved to the boot slot from the chest slot. Any Void Plague runes previously engraved on the chest or robe will appear as faded rune and will need to be engraved with a different rune to gain a rune effect. Okay, that's fine. So it's moving from chest to boots. Does anyone remember what I had on boots before anyway as a holy priest? I don't even remember, or as a disc priest. So I don't know what that would now be replacing on my boots. Rogue stuff. So I don't know anything about rogues. I don't play rogues. So I'll read this, but it's not gonna mean anything to me because I don't play them. Blunderbuss, fire a musket blast at enemies in a cone in front of the rogue, dealing physical damage. Okay, that sounds like AoE threat to me, and AoE damage more than anything. But just like that actually kind of sounds like a tanking thing to try and hold aggro on multiple things. Finishing move that hits all nearby targets with a damage over time bleed based on attack power, increased duration, and damage per combo point. That sounds fun. Oh, and then Fan of Knives. So we have even more. Well, those all. Why would you give me this and this? They're both AoE. One's conal, one's around me, but like, what's the point? Slightly different shapes. Pain suppression and dispersion are on feet. Oh, so I'm keeping dispersion then. Like 1.5k. Yeah, but then so it's like, I guess my point here, Groglocks, is that like if Blunderbuss is better, everyone's taking Blunderbuss. If Fan of Knives is better, everyone's taking Fan of Knives. Like one of them is just going to do more damage for its cost or is going to be more efficient. And like I feel like you kind of designed two of the same thing. Technically different geometry, one conal, one in a circle around me, but in large part, it won't matter the shape. You'd reposition to hit the damage if you need to. And so really it's about Blunderbuss does more damage. I think Fan might apply poisons. Okay, so functionally there is something different then. Okay, see, I know nothing about rogues. And this is why y'all are here, to answer those kinds of questions. Because if it applies poisons, which makes sense actually, he throws both weapons, so they kind of is speaking to him using his daggers or swords, whatever. So maybe that's okay. New poison added, sebaceous poison, armor debuff, great. Numbing poison, attack speed debuff, atrophic poison, attack power reduction, occult poison. Deadly poison, but increases non-physical damage by 2% per application to a max of 10% bonus damage. Is this only for myself or for everybody as a rogue? I assume it's for myself. The non-physical damage from me goes up, not everybody. That'd be nuts. Deadly brew will also apply. Occult poison in place of deadly poison. Okay. Shadow Step is no longer on the GCD. Oh. On the global cooldown. From everyone? After you get 5 stacks, I'm just doing 10% more bonus damage? I don't know, Analia. I've heard the word sebaceous before, but I actually don't know what it means. Okay. Shamans. Lesser paladins. Non-existent class. Honestly, I don't care enough to read all of that. I'm sorry, y'all. We play on Alliance. Okay. Warlocks. Decimation, Shadow Bolt, Shadow Cleave, Incinerate, and Soulfire. Damage on targets below 35% health. Cause your next Soulfire to not... I don't even know why I'm reading this either. I know nothing about Warlocks, but I know Alexi does. Mark of Chaos. Shadow Burn causes your next single target ability to have 100% increased crit strike chance. Ooh. That sounds fun. Just giant nukes of damage coming in. Ooh, this is interesting too. Infernal Armor for the tanks. Okay, Warriors, which I also don't know much about. Damaging target with Bloodthirst has a chance to enrage you. Barely even makes... Okay. I don't know why I'm reading this. I don't know anything about this class. Ah, interesting. That sounds pretty strong. Just passively being able to proc executes at any portion in the fight. Yeah, Mark of Chaos seems good. I don't know what Soulfire is, though, so I just don't know, like, what procking to cast at 1.5 seconds faster really does. Like, I don't know how valuable that is, but this sounds very good. This is interesting because just passively, when you crit, you might go into a sudden death window where for 10 seconds you can just execute a whole bunch and you'll still have rage, some rage at the end. And then Shockwave. This is a great CC tool. A little bit of damage. Shield and defensive stance, though, so it's really only for tanks. Unless you're going to stance swap, weapon swap, and cast that, which you can do, maybe for PvP. Single-Minded Fury no longer increases damage dealt, but now increases movement speed. And reduces threat generated. I don't think any of us care about that, then. That probably just stops getting picked. Blood Frenzy's been redesigned. Now increases Ren damage by 100% and causes Ren to gain increased damage equal to 3% of attack power per tick. Ren may now be used in any stance. That sounds kind of fun. bleeding people as a warrior. Flagellation has been redesigned. Now causes the warrior to gain rage from physical damage taken as the warrior... Oh, as if the warrior was wearing no armor. That's kind of interesting. So you just get way better rage generation from being hit. It's a tank thing. Rampage has been redesigned. Now instantly increases the warrior's attack power by 10% for 30 seconds and no longer stacks or costs rage to activate. Requires being enraged, though, and it's a 2-minute cooldown. So it's a 10% attack power buff for 30 seconds. So when your cooldowns are up, you pop that. It's just a cooldown window for a lot of damage. Wrecking Crew now causes an enrage effect that lasts 10 seconds. Increased damage done by Mortal Strike, Bloodthirst, and Shield Slam. Threat reduction in Gladiator stance is now 30. Cool. Consumed by Rage. Basically, they're like, we realize that warriors do too much damage, so we're just going to have to give them flat threat reduction. Consumed by Rage now activates when exceeding 60 rage and now always lasts 12 seconds regardless of the number of attacks, but no longer grants a damage bonus. Oh, okay. A booming voice talent now increases battle shout duration and reduces its rage cost. Great. What's 150% of its current... Like, why would they tell us this? I know that is the talent. The talent increases it by this. But, like, I want to know what that results in. How long is Battle Shout now? Rage cost removed. That's good. For Commanding Shout, you should be able to use that whenever as a defensive. Recklessness now increases credit. They did make it a 5-minute cooldown now, but Recklessness now increases critical strike chance by 50, so it's less. That's good. And the duration is reduced to 12 seconds, but the cooldown is reduced to 5. Okay. Use it slightly more often, a little less powerful. I like that change. Retaliation Shield Wall have their cooldowns reduced to 5 minutes was 30. Thank God. Now warriors can actually be somewhat playable as tanks, I think. Baseline shouts were 2 minutes, right? So 150%. Increased by 150%. So they're increased by 3 minutes to go to 5 minutes. So they'll be 5 minutes now. Okay, so they'll be 5 minutes now. This is good, though. This is a good change. 30-minute cooldowns is just ridiculous. New baseline. And they're not even... Still 5 minutes is a long time, right? Like, you're using that, like, every few trash pulls or something. You can use it once per boss fight, so it's not like you have a ton of options. New baseline ability has been added. Meat Hook. Throw out a hooked chain. No fucking way. What in the fuck? I will never PvP again, Blizzard. You just killed PvP for me as a player in SoD. Abso-fucking-lutely. What? I know Warriors. The Warriors wanted something, man. They wanted something, which is fair. They wanted something unique and interesting and whatever. You got it, but you got it at the cost of PvP enjoyment for all players. We're giving Warriors a Blitzcrank hook. I mean, it just pulls them towards you. We don't know how far. Because at a 30-yard range, does it pull them 10 yards closer to me? And I still have to cover 20 yards? But a 35-second cooldown. Oh, it's just Death Grip? I'm actually pulling them to me? Does it have to be... It just says towards you. That's why I'm reading the towards you. And it could be like throw and then be like a yoink like a thresh, right? So it could be like a boom, and I pull you a little bit closer. Confirmed, Phantom Eyes applies poison. Good to know, Jerry, for that distinction earlier with the rogues. But, like, it could be a blitz hook, Or a Death Knight grip, right? Or it could be a Thresh Hook, and it could sort of pull you closer, but not all the way. And then general. All tanking classes now gain additional damage output benefit from the defensive skill in some way. Good. Tanks can fucking hold aggro. But are there any other abilities in WoW that does that instead of a full pull right to you that classes have? I don't think so. Not to my knowledge, Brown Sugar. So to your point, they would likely be porting over the Death Grip from a Death Knight to do that. But, okay. So is that... Should I read his little follow-up there? Is that a follow-up, or is this an older post? 2 hours ago... 2 hours ago. Well, they're both 2 hours ago. Follow up? Okay, so read it. Hot Streak Rune has been moved to the Helm slot. I don't remember what that does. Rewind time. I also don't really remember. Okay, sure. Divine Light Rune that replaced Seal of Murderdomom has been moved to the Cloak slot. Okay. None of this means anything to me. Haven't been in the game in a long time. Damage shield from Little Island over healing will now apply to Beacon of Light targets. Poison Knife now refunds a portion of his energy cost, increasing depending on the number of stacks of deadly or cold poison on the target. Stricken toss down grants 1 combo point per enemy hit. Everyone take a breath, and then let's try and make sense of this sentence together. The Felguard has gained the Demonic Frenzy ability, causing the Felguard's damaging melee attacks cause a Demonic Frenzy, increasing attack power for 10 seconds. So causing his damaging attacks to... Jesus Christ. So basically, when he attacks in melee, he will proc Demonic Frenzy, increasing attack power for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 10 times. So he attacks 10 times, and now he's got 10x, whatever the stack number is, of attack power for the rest of the fight till he stops attacking. Okay. English, y'all. Come on now. We gotta have some editors on these articles. Oh, it could be changed from Plunder. You're right, actually. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, Lake of Fire's been redesigned. Cool. All right. I mean, these all seem like good or solid change. You know, like they're fine changes. I think the thing that for me is like great. None of this assuages or even addresses a single concern that I have about SoD. My issue with SoD was not where the classes were. I enjoyed playing my mage. I enjoyed playing my hunter. I enjoyed playing my priest. My issue was not my character. My issue was the content. So it's great to have this information. It's great to see what some of what they have planned or what they're looking at right now for classes. But honestly, I don't give two shits about this. I care what your plan is for the game. And so I want to know what the raids look like, what the path to 60 looks like, what the raids look like, what the gear looks like. You know, I want to know what the actual content in the game is going to look like, not that you gave me Arcane Barrage as a mage. Like, I could have expected and did expect that I'd get 1 or 2 abilities. Again, not mad to have the information, but not all that enlightening in the end. Okay, we do have this other little bit that I'll read real quick. Yeah, exactly. I figure they'll talk about some of it, but even still, it's very high level stuff. You can so it's really not giving detail, but it's still valuable to your point. Okay. What's in store? We're leveling up Season Discovery Phase 4. New rune discoveries, class adjustments, professions, reputation updates, dungeon updates, PvP sets, events, raid content, world bosses, more. Level from 50 to 60. Guess what? You're going to have to do it. Hey, thanks, Blizzard. Okay, so you're going to have 150% XP buff from 1 to 50, and you'll have a 50% XP buff from 50 to 60. Cool. I didn't mind when it took us a while to level, but I'm one of those people. I don't mind being a level grinder. on PTR incursions are now daily instead of spammable. Well, cool. I mean, I don't want them to exist, if I'm being honest. I would rather them just take incursions out. I think it was a failed experiment. They should move on to something else. Or they should accept that incursions were bad and move on to something else. You like incursions? That's crazy, Groglox. You're crazy. Okay, we got cloak runes, yes. And then ring runes. Weapon skill spell hit more. Oh, cool. So that's what you were talking about. We all get just utility runes there. Friend who loved islands and BFA. Yeah, see, that's crazy to me too. Groglox, I like the idea of incursions. I think they just completely whiffed on the execution. So, and I don't think time gating them to be daily makes them good. It's still boring, and from my perspective, like I will get the same non-enjoyment out of it doing it once a day as I did doing it 20 times in a row. Like, making it a daily thing is not going to make the content. So unless they're going to change the content, it's not going to make it enjoyable for me. Yeah. Totally. Class adjustments, as we know. Professional reputation updates, new and enhanced recipes from Argent Dawn, Thorium Brotherhood, Warlords, and Timbermaw. Cool, so we're still going to be farming all the rep that we had to farm at 60 anyway, but just some new stuff. Okay, cool, daily quest hubs. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I won't ever do the incursions because I have a feeling there's still going to be good XP value daily. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're still doing them to level. I just don't think we'll be having fun with them. Stranglethorn, I'm so done doing Stranglethorn, so I don't give a shit about this, to be honest, and it actually is maybe even a little annoying that I'll have to do it if some of my bis comes from there. My hope is that none of my bis comes from Stranglethorn at level 60, because we should be going into tougher raids, and more of our bis should come from the raids. And if that's the case, then I probably will just ignore Stranglethorn entirely and just not be, like, pre-bis then, right? Just go in, or not be pre-bis in those slots. Updated rewards and new dungeons available at level 60. Okay, fuck yes. Blackrock Desk 7.5, Spire, Dire Maul, Skullman, Strathholm. Like, hell yes. Bring me these old dungeons. I dislike that STV is still a thing too, Alexi. I liked it when it was there for Phase 2. But it completely got... Again, Groglox, I like STV. I just don't want to be having to go to STV for that specific event with nothing really changing at level 60. Like, I'm past it. I'm done with it. I did that progression, right? And if they had done that, Groglox, I would be right there with you. Literally, that would have been, like, the only thing they had to do. They could take the same system and just put it in fucking Winter Spring. And now we're fighting in the snow, right? And if they did that, I'd be like, it's a totally different experience, different setting, different everything, and different spawn points, and it would just feel better and different. Just tested Meat Hook on PTR. It's straight up death grip. Fucking never PvPing ever. Thank God we are on a PvE server now. Holy shit. Yeah, 3 phases in a row of STV to me is just redonkulous. But that's all right. I mean, it could be worse. Again, it could be worse. It could be worse. It could be Ashen Veil. PvP class sets for rank 10, great for people who want a PvP, but as we just discussed, we won't be doing that. Experience Molten Core as a 20-player dungeon, a 20-player raid dungeon, with 10 classic bosses, revamped loot, redesigned Tier 1 sets, and more. Players will be able to turn up the heat with a new variable difficulty mechanic. Don't forget your fire resist gear. You're going to need it. Kind of like that they're going to make us have fire resist gear. We'll be adding one more surprise to this classic raid for intrepid adventurers to discover. Okay. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. I'll be honest. After doing 20-man STs. So, before Phase 3, I was saying I hope that they make Molten Core, that they don't touch Molten Core and just let us go in there with 20. Like, it would be doable with 20. And I think it obviously is doable with 20. After doing 6 weeks of 20-man raids, I'm not sure I want 20-man raids anymore. I might be in the 10-man camp It's hard to say because I don't know if they're going to take learnings from ST and how painful ST was as a 20-man and apply that to the revamped Molten Core. Because Molten Core is a long dungeon. It's a long raid. 10 bosses. But also, it just, you got to go through a lot of shit. So, like, getting 20 people committed. We already had enough difficulty getting 20 people committed to 3, right? In the first weeks, it would take 3 hours to do ST in those first couple weeks. Then we got it down to 2. Then we got it down to 1. But even still, it's hard. So I'm really skeptical. Which is so crazy because, again, before Phase 3, I was thinking 20-mans was was good. I was in the 20-man camp. I think 20-man is good. It's just the right amount of expansionism on the 10s. We don't need to go to 40s. And then after doing the 20s in the SoD environment, I don't know if I agree anymore, and I think I might be back towards the 10-man group. Guild fell apart in the 10 to 20 transition. Well, you're always welcome to join us, Grog, when we get back into it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but again, it would just be really hard to see because I don't know. Maybe if we can just walk through Molten Core like I would expect us to be able to do as SoD characters, maybe we can just kill this week 1 in an hour, or maybe week 1 is a 2-hour raid, but then every week after that is a 1-hour raid, and it just is easy at that point. That'd be fine, but like it worries me. 20-man raids, 10 bosses sounds pretty guild killery to me for a SoD player base. I could be wrong though. World bosses. Experience Lord Kha'Zix and Azergos as brand new instanced versions of these encounters. They'll be tuned to 20, but you can go with up to 40. Okay. I hope so, Groglox. Onyxia will be adjusted to accommodate 40 or fewer players. Hell yeah. Well, I like this because now we're going to have like multiple raid content-y things too. It's not just Molten Core. You can also go do these guys as instant things. You can also go do Onyxia. Well, this part is good. I do like these world boss changes. I like these a lot. This is very cool. I like that. The more difficult you made the bosses, the more loot you got. Well, yeah, and then there's also that, right? The idea of one more surprise and a new variable difficulty mechanic. Exactly. Like, I'm very curious about those. And what's the highest difficulty, you know? But yeah, these all seem like pretty positive changes or suggestions of changes. Like, I like that we're going to have a lot of access to a lot of dungeons. I like that they're at least not committed to 40 player, you know? And I like that they added these in as extra instanced content. All of that sounds good to me. Worried about this. Well, not worried about this. Fine. If anything, good. Because it's going to make only having to do it once a day is going to make it feel less bad from my perspective. So I guess that's overall a good thing. I'd rather them just take them out so I don't feel like I have to do it at all. But once a day. And then this is a bit of a bummer. I wish they had just altered it in some way. Put it in a different zone, changed it a little bit, give us something different. All right, y'all.